ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्.
Hi friends, welcome again to another wonderful episode of Mritunjaya. And today I have Shibani. Shibani is my school friend. Hi Shibani.
Hi, Trupti.
And she's going to talk about grief and mourning and loss of a loved one. And we're going to find out from Shibani what exactly happened to her when her loved one left her. Shibani.
Yeah, when a loved one leaves you, it obviously fills you with full grief. You never imagine that it will ever happen to you. And the first time a loved one actually left me, I was only 12 and a half. My father died. That was a shock. I mean, when a father dies and, the principal came to school, we were in the same school. I was called out of the examination. And I still didn't know why. My father was in hospital, but we still didn't know. Death had never, we didn't know what was death, me and my sister. When I went home, I saw my mother crying so much. I saw my father's body. And that was the first time I shut the door and I started crying to myself and pinched my sister, don't cry in front of anyone else. And, it was a grief which shocked me so much, I just didn't know how to react to it. 18 days after that, my grandmother died. My grandmother had come to live with us, my mother's mother. And we were so happy, my grandmother's come, my father's dead, she'd take over that space. Just suddenly in front of me, without any suffering, without anything, she just fell down and she died. That was the first time I saw death, but again, it didn't shock me so much. I haven't seen it through. So death has come in various times. Then death didn't come for a long time. And I fell in love in Pune. I was 18 years old. We shifted to Pune. I was 18. And he was a really nice boy, but he was an Iranian boy. And my mom was really against it. She said, what is this? He's an Iranian. You can't fall for an Iranian boy. We are Indians. And, in those days, you fell in love. It meant that you're marrying them. So anyway, but she started loving him very much. And, he became like a husband. I mean, like he loved all the things my father loved. He loved painting. He loved, all the music, all this Western classical music, which my father had collected and none of us heard. suddenly the house was full of music, and he was listening to them, and we were listening, and there was painting going on, and this relationship was going on, but very silent. It was a different. Those, I mean, I don't know. It was not like sexual or even
Correct.
close. It was just very silent and very. I was in love with this boy. Would come to have tuitions from me in English.
Okay.
And then, and here was this good-looking Iranian fellow. And then he said he's going home to Iran. And we said, why? So he said, yeah, I have to go now. I have to go for a holiday and all that. So he had to, so then I think the week before that was the first time we had a really horrible fight. And it was for some strange reason, ego problem fight. Didn't talk for 1 week. Then he came the day before, 2 days before he was supposed to go. Again, he came to the house. And he said, like, why are we fighting? Come, let's go out for dinner, all of us. I'll take your mom and your sister and you, and we'll all go. And we made up with each other, went for dinner, came back home. Next day, he was going to go and get his visa from Karve Road. The day went uneventfully. Suddenly, in the afternoon, 2 men come to my house and they ring the bell. And I open the door, they're ashen faced, they're standing over there. And it didn't even occur that anything could happen. And they said, Masood is dead. How? He was riding his bike and a car came from front and he braked so hard that he fell over. He banged his head and he died instantaneously. Gosh. That was a shock of a weirdest kind. I mean, I was so young. Again, I didn't know how to react. It was like 1 year I mourned. I moaned and moaned. Death is bizarre. You mourn a man who you love, whom you didn't even know that well, and then you write poetry. And I really mourned. I mourned so much, Trupti, that then all the upset went away. There was no anger, no upset, nothing. It just left. And that was good. Because after that, something else happened. College, went to FTII. Life carried on.
Shibani, you said something very beautiful, you said. You said that I mourned for a year and then it left.
Yes, I mourned. I actually mourned. I wrote poetry. I wrote songs, all to him. And it was a mourning which was very, very, very emotional. It was a love mourning. It was not a mourning for your father or your mother, or it wasn't that kind of a mourning. It was a love mourning, a mourning which was about love and young love. And
so that can heal you. That actually healed you. Just mourning for him, writing for him, remembering him.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Then he just left my memory. He has never come back. I mean, I can talk about him, but not with any edge.
I love that. He left my... It's poetic,
Yes, it is in a sense.
Actually poetic. He left my memory. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it is complete. And I used to tell people, to mourn for a long time and then it will go away. We all hide our mourning. We try to do other things, or we cry. I don't know. Mourning comes, of course, to many people in different ways, but it keeps coming back to them.
True.
Whereas in my case, because I mourned for a year, and it was a serious mourning because I was in a hostel in Bombay, all new people, and I would just be writing poetry on my own, thinking about him, writing to his sister, getting photographs, getting his history, who he was as a child. This went on for a whole year.
You actually got to know him in that year.
Yes. His past.
Wow. Shibani, there's a Tibetan master by the name of Shabkar.
Yes.
And he speaks about how weeping and mourning and crying can heal you. And you're saying the same thing.
Yes, yes. If you just indulge yourself for that time. And it's like a present, like a giving away of to that other person. That this is what I had to give you. And I'm giving it to you now. Unfortunately late, but it's still there.
Wow, I love what you're saying. I love what you're saying. You're giving yourself to him.
Yes.
All that you could have given
Couldn't
to
give.
him,
Yes.
couldn't
Yes.
give, you're now giving it to him for a year.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
beautiful, Shibani. Beautiful, really lovely.
And then,
What happened?
and yeah, then life went on. He died. His family. I've always wanted to go to Iran and go and. But now those thoughts have left me.
Uh,
I still want to go to Iran, but not
hmm,
that reason. I
yeah.
would still love to see Iran, but not for that reason. But
Yeah.
I'm still attracted to Iranian people. I have a very good Iranian friend called Sethi Bey who lives in Paris, and I keep telling her, you have to take me there. So one day, if it ever happens. So
It
then
will.
what happened? Life took over, and there was no question of death. Thank God, for a long time in my life. Got married, and life took. Things I did well in my career. And then I had a dog.
Hmm.
This is my first dog we ever had, and he came when India was 50 years old. He was a Dalmatian dog given by my friend Sophie. And we'd never had a dog in our house before. And we had this dog. And he was a beautiful dog and a smart, intelligent, bright dog, like I think all dogs are, but this one. And 50 was called 50 because India was 50 years old and he had black and white stripes, black and white spots.
Uh-huh.
So it was 50, 50, 50. So his name
Sweet.
was 50. And he was a sweet one. One day we had a party in the house and, I think lots of chicken was being eaten. It was a chicken biryani.
Hmm.
And I don't know what happened, but that night he insisted on coming and sleeping on my bed.
Hmm.
I allowed him, and in the morning, he kept saying he wants to go out. It was early morning. I was like, really tired after this party. And Trupti, I just opened the door to allow him to go out. And before I could think or go one step forward, he bolted out.
Hmm.
He bolted out so fast, and I shut the door. See, he was free to go here and there also.
Hmm.
And then suddenly the doorbell rings, and the little boy comes and he says, "Your dog has fallen." God. And I went there and I saw 50 just died. There and then died. He just ran out for the light. He just wanted the light. He just wanted the space. And, he just went out, a healthy dog, and
God.
died. That dog dying was the first time a dog died. But again, 50 didn't show me his death.
Ah.
Till now, no one has shown me their death. They died, but I never suffered their death. I never understood, saw them suffering. So 50's death affected me and Dilip, my husband, very badly. And it was very sad. So for 3-4 years, we didn't have a dog. We said we're not having a dog. And then one day, 10 years ago, exactly 10 years ago, some people brought this little puppy, a dachshund. He was a miniature dachshund, so he was really tiny, with one leg broken. And they said, "This is a rescue dog. Will you have him?"
Hmm.
So he was so cute. We said, "Of course we'll have him with one leg broken." Why did the leg break? Because it got inside. That poor thing was in Bandra, tied up,
Hmm.
and being used as a, beware of dog. He was so small and, and some cycle or something had gone over his leg.
Hmm.
So I took him to Dr. Chasilkar. His leg became fine. And, then I took him for homeopathic medicine. He became one of the fastest runners on the beach. He could outrun any dog, okay? Alsatian or those big Labradors, of course, are huge, but then even the little ones who could run fast. This fellow was like a bullet. He would just run and make them chase till they all fell down. He was the love of the beach. Versova Beach loved him. His name was Dash.
Dash.
Okay, from a dash.
True to his name.
He was a true dash.
He was a true dash.
True dash, wherever. And he was a real Snoopy Dash. Okay, snoop, buy these pizzas and not allow me to see and push them under his cupboard and all that. The dog Dash would snoop in there, find that box and show it to me. So Abir would hate him. Oh, he's a snoop, he's my spy, he's a spy. But this Maza used to go on, and Dash was so close to me. These Dachshunds are one people dogs. They don't care for anyone else. He's not, and they're not friendly with others. Like if others come to the house, he's not wagging tail types. He just beside me, gentle and quiet, but never leave me. Sometimes I say, "Come on, now get out of the room," but he'd be waiting outside the door, waiting. And when we go on holidays, he would sit in one corner to tea. He'd see the suitcases being packed. He wouldn't get out of that corner, with his head down. And I'd say, "Please, Dash, don't feel so bad. We're coming back soon. He'd never even look up, He'd know they're all going away, leaving him alone. And this used to happen sometimes, and then sometimes when we started taking him with us. And he was such a good traveling dog. Because he was tiny, he would just curl himself up and sit in the car on the feet. Nobody would know, he was so good. And he was a rat catcher. In Maharashtra, we live on the ground floor. So the ground floor is like full of rats, from the garden.
Correct.
And the only house which didn't have rats was us, because he wouldn't leave that place. He'd sit there the whole night waiting for that dog,
rat to come
and chase and get it.
Oh.
And this rat catcher thing of his was like so acute that even later when he became ill, he couldn't help it, but he wanted to go there so badly. He'd go halfway there and then he'd just give up. But this rat thing, so now when he's not there, it becomes really sad. Now losing a dog, we'll come back to how he died.
Yeah.
Losing a dog, losing a pet, any pet, a cat probably, or even a tortoise, according to some people. Some people even say goldfish in our friends group.
Yeah.
What happens is you start a connection. You read about prisoners, when they're in prison and they're fully locked up and
solitary confinement.
Solitary confinement.
Yeah.
A bird which will come and to their window is their friend.
Yeah.
A rat is their friend.
Yeah.
That's what happens between an animal and a man. A sort of an unspoken, undialogue mind sensation happens between a man and an animal, a person and an animal. Because they have extrasensory perception.
True.
They can sense you. They can sense your mood. They can sense your voice. They can sense when you're upset. Talking about upset, the time, about say a month before he died, he was so ill, and I don't know, he came and shat or something in the middle of the room. And I was so angry with him, and I said, "Why did you do this, Dash?" He could hardly walk, Trupti. He put his head down and he just walked up the stairs. And I cried. I pulled him up and I said, "Sorry, Dash, sorry so much." And he so sweetly licked my face. One moment is over.
That's
they are so forgiving and so sweet animals,
Yeah.
All animals. You see
animals.
A cow, see their eyes, and you know that, oh my God, this sort of forgiving nature which an animal has. Towards themselves, they push it to you also.
Yeah.
They take it forward.
Yeah. And like you rightly said, their eyes, animals have such deep and watery and sensitive eyes,
Yes.
That's so
their
true.
eyes speak volumes.
True, yes.
They look at you, and they stare at you.
Yeah.
as to why are you shouting at me? Why are you talking to me like this?
I
So
think they
this is what
don't blink, right? Animals blink their eyes. I mean,
sometimes, but not
just
much.
asking you. Yeah, I've
They
never seen a dog
stare at you
blinking their
unblinking.
eyes. Yeah, they
They
stare.
they
I
can
think they're
stare.
so they are in a mode of surrender, you know. I mean, it
Yes.
doesn't matter to them how you're looking at them. So I think that's
They
the
have no idea. Like, you don't need to wear makeup and look at a dog from a distance.
true.
You can be naked in front of your dog and your dog doesn't even know the difference.
Yeah, I
know?
think that's so profound, Shivani. You know, you can just be who you are.
You can be
Pretty,
absolutely who you are.
naked, yeah, angry, whatever it is, and the dog still wags his tail and comes and licks your face. I mean, that's the
Absolutely.
kind of sensitivity that they have. Wow, we have to learn a lot from them.
There's so much to learn from a dog, from an animal: perseverance, love, patience.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that animals don't get angry. They get really angry with each other.
Really?
Yeah, you can see two dogs fight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They
It's like
do.
anger, and
Rage,
cats fight,
rage. Yeah.
lions fight. They can
Hens.
fight,
Yeah, even
but
hens.
they will never do anything to their master because they have that pack mentality.
Correct.
So the head of the pack is you, right?
Ah.
So that head of the pack, they will never ever harm.
So you mean to say that they accept the head of the pack very easily? Like the master is their
Yes,
master.
yes, and remains that.
And remains that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Human beings don't do
They-
that.
yeah, all animals, I think, do that. They can be trained to do that too.
They can be trained
But
to do that.
but training comes by natural training, because you are looking after them. They are, they eat what you eat, whatever you give them. So eating was a big thing about Dachshunds. Dachshunds love food. Okay, and my little one, I used to keep him not eaten because he was so small. He had little legs. He was a Dachshund, and I never wanted him to become overweight and have arthritis. And so thus he was really deft. He could jump. He could throw himself anywhere. He could run fast. He had really good, nice bones. And he never ate rice. He only ate meat. So whenever there was sweets or chocolates or something, he just loved those. Okay, he got those as treats, and oh God, that he could smell. No, because smell is the most important thing.
Yes.
They can smell. So
They
food and all that, you can't hide.
Yeah. Wow.
But the same thing about like I'm saying about his health. About 6 months before he died, I said to my son, I said, you think Dash will die soon? I don't know why I said that, because dogs died at 15, 16. He said, of course not, Ma. He's so healthy and he's so deft and he's so strong and he jumps up and down. This was 6 months before, right? And the pandemic was on. There was a dog on the street, on my street, called Brownie. A lovely dog. I used to feed him. Brownie was really ill. He was sent off to a hospital. He came back. Brownie was full of ticks. Full of ticks. And I said, I have to bring Brownie in the house. Because he's so ill, there's no one to look after him. And he wanted to come home. So he came inside the house and he was sleeping. He used to stay in the drawing room. Dash was always with us. But when Brownie came, the ticks came with him.
Correct.
And not that Dash was not used to ticks before, because he used to meet other dogs, but Brownie had so many ticks and they were home. And then suddenly, the ticks started coming on my bed. The ticks started coming and they used to bite me. The ticks were everywhere. It was very uncomfortable. So I said, now Brownie is okay. Now he has to go. By which time, Dash was slowly not looking well. But I didn't understand it. I thought he'll be fine. And Brownie left. And then I took Dash to the vet here. And he said, no, I said, look, he can't walk. Suddenly he's not being able to walk up the stairs.
Okay.
What happened to him? Maybe he has arthritis. You know, they have long bodies.
Correct.
So I
Yeah.
thought maybe his back is a problem.
Hmm.
So the vet didn't, actually, it was very strange. He didn't even tell me, you know, that he doesn't have it. Instead, he gave him painkillers and he tested his blood, but he still didn't tell me what the problem was.
Hmm.
And then I and Dilip went off to Alibag for about 10 days or something. And when I came back, Dash was in a bad state. He
Okay.
was thin and he wasn't eating properly and, you know, he couldn't walk at all. So I carried him and I took him to Alibag. And in Alibag, I fed him, he ate well. And then suddenly, one day, he just couldn't get up from his bed on the ground. And that was a shock because at least he could walk. I mean, suddenly can't walk. So I called the vet over there in Alibag. He took a blood test and he said, look, your dog has very bad tick fever. And I said, what is tick fever? Now, tick fever was something I hadn't really known anything about.
Right.
I knew nothing much about dogs because I had hardly taken this dog to the hospital or to the doctor, any of the dogs.
Okay.
He said, no, he's got a tick fever and it's very, very bad. So the only way out would be to have a blood transfusion. I said, now blood transfusion in Alibag, where in Bombay also there's no blood transfusion. The only place is Chennai.
You mean for an animal, blood transfusion is only in Chennai?
Yeah. Because
That's
see,
weird.
very few dogs give blood at all.
वो
So it's not like human beings who think about others, and even we don't give much, but there too they don't. Which dogs will give?
Oh.
So there's no blood bank and all that, no. A picture of him I should send you that picture of him in the night, and I was like this big shadow in front of him, and I thought I was very big, and I wrote God and dog. Can you imagine calling myself God and him dog over there? And I sent that picture to some friends, and I thought he'd be fun, and I made him well. But within the 2 days, you know, I could see this dog was hungry, he was eating, but deteriorating, couldn't walk. I had to carry him everywhere. And then I took to sleeping beside him on the ground. See, earlier he would sleep on the bed with me. Then he couldn't get up, so he was on the ground. But on that ground over there, I'll send you pictures. I mean, it was so pathetic. I used to just put my bed there and lie down so that he could crawl into it, my bed. And, you know, that warmth of myself. And then that one day I called up my son from there. And this was about, say, 2 weeks prior. And I said, look, Abir, Dash is not good. He's dying. And I was crying like as if to say he was dead. And he said, what are you doing, Ma? I was just crying. Why is it? Why? And all that. Dash didn't die. Till Abir came, Ram Bhaiya, all these people who looked after him, they all came to Alibag. My birthday was on the 7th of December. That day was the last day of his life. You know, he didn't die even then. He was suffering, and I was wearing this dress and holding him the whole evening. It was very cold. I was holding him, carrying him, putting him down, carrying him, putting him down. This kept on the whole evening, holding him, and he was really sinking. And all of us knew that something is going wrong, but no one wanted to accept it. Neither Ram Bhaiya, neither Abhi, neither me. Only I was carrying him. And I knew I was holding him like this, and you know, that night I was so tired. I put him down beside me. I don't know what made me make, you know, this north-south thing, right? I used to be facing the north. I just shifted his position. Strangely and why. But he was alive. I just put him there just beside me and I said, Dash, go to sleep. And I'm also going to sleep. And together we went to sleep. In the middle of the night, I woke up. I knew he's not there. He was lying there, calm and just dead. I got up from that bed because I thought, how can I sleep next to a dead thing? It's not the right thing to do. So I left him on that bed. It was 4 o'clock or 3 in the morning. I got up, I went and slept on the bed next to my friend who was sleeping. And in the morning, I woke up everybody and I said, look, he's not there, he's not there, he's dead. And that's the time everyone started, what, how, crying away. And I was cool. My crying, my sadness, my everything was over. It had all got over in that entire looking after him. I had never looked after a person who was going to die. I had never seen someone who's going to die. They all died. And I was there. You know what I mean? Or I saw them. But I've never gone through the process of death.
Yes.
This was the first time in my life, this whole 1 month, of not leaving him for 1 minute, 1 second, and telling him don't. I never said don't go and all that. Things you say to a human being, you don't say to a dog. You just say. You just try to look after him and say, okay, I'll look after him, carry him up. Laugh at his harkate. Because he would still bark when you didn't carry him. He'd say, what's wrong with you now? Come on, now carry me up.
Yeah.
It was a language thing. Talk to him maybe. I knew he was suffering so much. He just keeps staring at me, as if don't feel bad, don't feel bad.
Yeah.
It was right in my lap, in my hand like this, like a baby, small dog in my, and that suffering with him was my grief. My entire grief was all that. And in the morning, I wanted my son to go through it a bit. So I made him carry this dog and put him in, inside a box, which we were going to put on him. I didn't think that I shouldn't do it. I didn't think it might affect him. He's 18 years old, and even if he was younger, it's fine. Because everyone should go through some process, I feel, because that's an inevitable thing. It happens to everybody.
And it's also healing in a way,
Exactly. It heals him too.
Yes.
He misses the dog so much.
I'm sure.
Now, I also, like today, because I was going to talk about him, it was like so sad, wherever, every black object in this house, you think, oh, there's Dash, he's lying there, but it's not Dash.
Not Dash.
It was, and then we made a pit and we put him in, and then we covered it, and then we planted a tree, and I put flowers and put a diya there, like it would be, and that's the time when I broke down. Yeah. When nobody was there, just this mound of earth, these 4 flowers, and this diya, and I felt so sad. I mean, as poor Dash. I mean, it was like, why Dash? Why so early? 11 years old, he could have lived much more. Even if you see his pictures before he died, he didn't have white hair. He was a black dog.
Yeah, he was a black dog. And
no, there was no white hair. There was no coldness. But poor thing, he was so tired, He was so tired. Poor thing, he suffered so much. Because the oxygen levels go down. And when the oxygen levels go down, you can't, when your blood is not there, you have no oxygen. You die out of a lack of oxygen. Now it's been 7th of December. It's already 2 months that he's dead. And we are still not sure. You want a dog, don't want a dog, want to have one. But I know that if we have another dog, it will be actually a big healing to all of us.
True.
Because dogs have a way, about them. They have a way about drawing you in. They won't let you ignore them, that's for sure. Even if you hate a dog, but if you live with him, he will draw you in.
Well, Dash will send somebody if you are going to have one. Yeah. Just like he came out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, a rescue dog.
He was
rescued. And these dogs are so expensive.
Yes,
they cost 40 or 50,000 to buy one miniature Dachshund. And they're very rare in Bombay. So
Yeah.
this miniature Dashan coming as a rescue and so intelligent, my God, because they're small, like all small creatures are far brighter than bigger ones, so they say.
True.
He was so sharp and so clever, you know. Even the neighbor's house, he'd go there, meet each one personally. He was very close to them.
Gotcha.
And they'd give him the biscuits, and they all miss him so much. They all spoke to him on the video before he died.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And he heard them, and he heard their voices. He couldn't make out what the hell was going on that phone. But he heard their voices. He looked that direction and all that.
Wow, Shibani, what a beautiful relationship. I think sometimes you can have a more beautiful relationship with a pet than with another human being, I guess. Listen,
as easily. If you're alone, say a lone person, the best present you can give that person is to give him an animal. Any animal. Because the animal takes very little from you. The human being ke saath bahas hoti hai, jealousies, anger.
Yeah.
Sab nahi hoti hai with an animal.
Yeah, I think that's why you have dogs who are used for blind people.
Yes,
for people who are mentally unstable. Yeah.
Bachcho ke liye. They lick you, when you feel sad. If I ever had a fight with my husband, the only person who would feel bad was Dash. He'd sit beside me and lick the tears off my eyes.
Oh.
So sad. Like, Ma, don't cry. Yeah. For him, I was Ma and Dilip was Baba, because that's what Abir called us, right?
Correct.
So he knew Ma and Baba fully. If you say, where's Ma, he'd know, he'd go and call him. Because he was so smart and bright. Yeah. He would understand and he'd call you.
So, what is that one message you want to give Dash? Because the soul is the soul, whether it's in a dog or it's in
any soul, especially a dog's soul, mostly will come back as a human being. They're too bright and smart.
Yeah,
their next janam will have to be even, they're as much as a monkey, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll come back as a human being.
So, do you want to give any message to Dash?
Yeah, I want to give Dash a message that Dash, you were the best thing that happened to our lives. And you gave us so much happiness and so much pleasure. Every minute with you was like, so pleasurable, and it was like a gift, a 10-year-old gift to my family and to me, especially to me. And Dash, wherever you are, just be happy. Come back to someone else's life and give happiness. That's my message.
Wow.
A message that, go back, carry the happiness further, wherever.
Lovely. I think that's the kind of message that we all need also, carry the happiness further. And that's our prayer for Dash. And that's my prayer for Shibani, that she too finds a sense of comfort in just kind of remembering Dash on a day-to-day basis. And she's going to remember him.
Of you to ask me about a dog in your Mritunjaya program.
Yes.
Mritunjaya is such a lovely program about remembering death and remembering people so close to you. And here, just a conversation about a dog became something which is, like you said, people have pets, they lose their pets, and they mourn their pets. You know what they say? They say when a pet dies, that he passed over the rainbow bridge.
Wow. When a pet dies,
what a beautiful statement.
Pass over the rainbow bridge.
Rainbow bridge.
Lovely. We should end.
Yeah, it's such a pretty way of looking at an animal's life,
Yes. Passing over, I think, is always beautiful, though we don't know about it. But I think it must be passing over a rainbow bridge. Thank you, Shibani. It was
wonderful. Thank you so much.
Talking to you.
Beautiful talking to you, Trupti.
Love you. Thank you.
Bye.
असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः